A new study shows not all ultra-processed foods are equally harmful. Less energy-dense, non-hyperpalatable options like canned peaches or low-sodium soups may not lead to overeating or weight gain. Ultra-processed foods, often high in calories per gram and containing unnatural combinations of salt, sugar, fat, and carbs, can stimulate the brain's reward system, making them hard to resist. NIH interim study results found participants consumed 1,000 more daily calories on energy-dense, hyperpalatable diets but only 170 more on less energy-dense ultra-processed meals. Weight gain was linked to diets with energy-dense and hyperpalatable foods, while less processed or balanced ultra-processed diets resulted in weight stability or loss. Healthier choices involve selecting foods under 2 calories per gram, avoiding hyperpalatable combinations, and balancing meals with lower calories options like vegetables. Business leaders expect economic improvement and increased hiring in 2025, with over 75% of CEOs optimistic about the global economy and 2/3 of U.S. employers planning to create permanent roles. While companies explored AI potential to replace human roles, many concluded that human workers are still essential, leading to the creation of new positions and tools like Indeed's Pathfinder aimed at streamlining job searches for candidates. Many businesses delayed hiring in 2024 due to political uncertainty, but are now moving forward with staffing plans, especially in HR and other critical departments. Job seekers report signs of improved courtesy in hiring, with quicker responses and better communication from employers during recruitment processes. Companies like Creep emphasize maintaining a rigorous but humane hiring process, reflecting a broader trend of treating job seekers with greater respect and transparency. Palm Beach's affluent residents are frustrated by the traffic blockades and disruptions caused by President-elect Donald Trump's frequent visits to Mar-a-Lago, where new security measures create long detours and delays. Despite the inconveniences, the area remains a playground for the ultra-wealthy, and with lavish parties, ostentatious fashion, and fierce competition for real estate. Mar-a-Lago's events, including disco nights and extravagant galas, draw high-profile attendees like Elon Musk and socialite Jen Shapiro, showcasing Trump's influence over the social scene. Local traditions and aesthetics such as preppy attire and exclusive clubs like the Coconuts persist amid the influx of new residents and visitors. Ultimately, most residents tolerate the chaos as Trump prepares to return to the presidency, seeing it as a price worth paying for their shared political and economic alignment. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has withdrawn from the Net Zero Asset Manager initiative, marking a significant shift away from its earlier support for ESG. The decision follows legal and political pressure from conservative groups in states like Texas and Oklahoma, which accused the firm of violating fiduciary duties by participating in climate-focused coalitions. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, once a vocal proponent of addressing climate risk in investments, began softening his ESG stance by 2023 due to mounting backlash. Despite the withdrawal, BlackRock continues to manage over $1 trillion in sustainable and transition-related investments, claiming leadership in the industry's sustainable solutions. BlackRock's move mirrors broader corporate retreats from climate and diversity initiatives as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to roll back related regulations. Once unwanted, Constellation Energy is one of the hottest stocks. Constellation Energy, originally spun out as an unwanted nuclear power company, has become a leading industry player, recently acquiring Calpine for $16.4 billion amid surging electricity demand driven by AI and data centers. The deal expands Constellation's focus beyond nuclear power to include natural gas, as tech companies increasingly prioritize rapid energy access over sustainability goals. Federal tax credits and global energy security concerns have revived interest in nuclear energy, with Constellation planning reactor restarts, extensions, and upgrades. While new nuclear technologies remain a year away, Constellation sees natural gas as a key part of the energy solution for decades. Regulatory approvals and potential opposition are expected for the acquisition, which underscores the growing importance of reliable power sources in the evolving energy market. Their wealth is in their homes. Their homes are now ash. Many of LA's middle-class homeowners bought properties years ago before prices exploded. Now they are figuring out what to do next as fires accelerate the city's crushing housing crunch. A recent wave of wildfires in Los Angeles have devastated thousands of homes, including those of middle-class homeowners who had bought properties decades ago when they were more affordable. These homeowners, whose wealth was largely tied up in their real estate, now face a housing crisis as they struggle with temporary housing shortages and uncertain insurance claims. Rebuilding is a daunting prospect, with many concerned that insurance payouts won't cover the full cost of reconstruction in areas with soaring property values. The fires have intensified California's housing crunch, exacerbating already high home prices and rents. Displaced homeowners are also grappling with the emotional and financial toll, while some consider leaving California for more affordable options. Zhang Yiming, the founder of TikTok's parent company ByteDance, faces a major challenge as the U.S. Supreme Court considers a national security law that could ban the app in the U.S. This potential ban threatens Zhang's global ambitions as TikTok has 170 million US users and generates significant revenue. Zhang's rise to success was built on his innovative approach to personalized content, but the company has been under political pressure, particularly from the US government, due to concerns over data security. Despite stepping down as ByteDance CEO in 2021, Zhang remains influential in guiding the company's strategy from Singapore. As TikTok's future in the US hangs in the balance, Zhang continues to focus on long-term goals, including pushing for his senior executives to learn English. Americans are tipping less at restaurants, with the average tip falling to 19.3% in 2024 due to frustration with rising menu prices and increasing tip prompts at unexpected places. Restaurant workers face reduced earnings as customers' tipping declines and their work hours shrink, while some restaurants add service fees to offset rising costs. Efforts to eliminate the tip wage system have led to wage increases in places like Washington, D.C. and Chicago, but also resulted in higher menu prices and customer confusion over service fees. Advocacy groups push for minimum wage parity for tip workers, arguing the current system unfairly burdened customers, while the restaurant industry warns of further declines in customer traffic and profitability. The growing complexity of tipping culture and additional fees has left many diners hesitant, potentially threatening the traditional gratitude-based income system for restaurant staff. China's auto industry faces overcapacity, prompting a shakeout phase with increased competition and price cuts as companies struggle to survive. Domestic car makers dominate the market, with homegrown brands like BYD and XPeng gaining ground while foreign brands like GM and Volkswagen lose market share. EVs and plug-in hybrids now make up more than half of new car sales in China, with the industry hitting a milestone of 10 million units produced in 2024. Global competition and trade barriers challenge Chinese automakers as they turn to exports and set up overseas factories, though issues like labor violations have arisen. The industry's outlook remains uncertain, with predictions of slowing domestic sales in 2025 and consolidation among weaker players as the market evolves. The Biden administration plans to implement global export controls on AI chips to limit China's access to advanced AI technology, sparking a rare public clash between U.S. tech companies, national security hawks, and bipartisan policymakers. Tech companies like NVIDIA and industry groups argue that restrictive measures harm U.S. leadership and competitiveness, while hawks emphasize closing loopholes to prevent China's exploitation of U.S. technology. The policy reflects a continuation and expansion of previous Trump-era export controls, aiming to protect U.S. dominance in AI critical to national security and global economic leadership. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has criticized industry resistance, while companies warn that cumbersome rules may push customers toward Chinese alternatives, undermining U.S. market influence. The battle over AI chip regulations underscores deepening tensions between economic growth priorities and national security concerns in the face of China's technological ambitions. Billionaire entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, currently leading a federal cost-cutting effort with Elon Musk, is being considered by President-elect Donald Trump to fill the U.S. Senate seat vacated by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, who will appoint a new senator, is expected to make a decision this week after meeting with Ramaswamy and consulting with Trump and Vance. Accepting the Senate role would require Ramaswamy to leave or adjust his position at DOGE, an independent advisory board created to streamline government operations. Ramaswamy's appointment could influence Ohio's political landscape, potentially clearing the way for Lieutenant Governor Jon Husted to pursue the governorship in 2026. Known for his assertiveness and controversial remarks, Ramaswamy's career spans a successful biotech startup and a brief 2024 GOP presidential primary challenge against Trump. Hyundai Motor and other major automakers like GM, Ford, and Toyota are engaging with President-elect Donald Trump, donating $1 million each to his inaugural fund as they prepare for potential tariffs that could disrupt supply chains and raise vehicle costs. Hyundai seeks a direct meeting with Trump, highlighting its U.S. investments and job creation efforts, while its executives plan to attend exclusive inauguration events. Proposed tariffs of up to 25% on goods from Mexico and Canada could impact the automotive industry significantly, potentially adding $3,000 to the cost of an average car in the U.S. Hyundai's U.S. investments include a Georgia EV manufacturing facility employing 8,500 workers, but its reliance on imported parts makes it vulnerable to tariffs. While Hyundai and others aim to strengthen ties with the administration, some automakers like Mercedes-Benz are opting not to contribute to the inaugural fund. JP Morgan Chase disables employee comments after return to office backlash. JP Morgan Chase disabled employee comments on an internal page discussing its new return to office policy after criticism from staff. The policy, effective in March, requires all employees, including back office workers, to work full-time in the office, ending the 2-day remote work allowance. Employees expressed concerns about increased commuting costs, childcare, and work-life balance, with some even suggesting unionizing. The bank explained that the decision was based on what they believe is the best approach for running the company. Other companies like Amazon have also implemented similar return-to-office mandates post-pandemic. Bond sell-off is rocking the world. You might want to take the other side. Recent bond sell-offs, driven by rising term premiums rather than strong economic growth, have pushed U.S. Treasury yields to multi-year highs and caused global market turmoil, with weaker economies like Britain and France facing significant pressure. Despite fears of fiscal instability and inflation-linked treasuries suggest that markets are not overly concerned about economic overheating or tariffs, making bonds potentially attractive investments. The rare bear steepening of the yield curve, where long-term yields rise faster than short-term ones, reflects fixed-income investors' belief that cash returns won't drop significantly in the near future. Stocks have reacted negatively as the S&P 500's forward earnings yield now competes closely with Treasury yields, highlighting stretched equity valuations. If economic growth falters, central banks may pivot to stimulus measures, which would likely benefit bonds as an asset class. Trudy is a mental health chatbot integrated into TrueMe phones, helping kids like 14-year-old Taylor Johnson manage stress and anxiety by providing validation, advice, and support. Parents like Taylor's mother appreciate the bot's ability to deliver advice in a way their children accept, especially during challenging situations such as moving or dealing with school pressure. Designed by Elomia Health using GPT-4 and monitored by clinicians, Trudy allows parents to view chat logs, receive emotional state reports, and get alerts for mentions of self-harm, ensuring safety and transparency. Therapists caution that while chatbots like Trudy can be helpful, they are not substitutes for human interaction and require parental supervision to ensure proper use. Despite occasional misinterpretations, users and parents generally find Trudy beneficial, with its constant availability and empathetic responses providing meaningful support to children and young adults. The car market's hottest deal, the cheap EV lease. The popularity of leasing electric vehicles has surged, driven by a $7,500 federal tax credit under the Inflation Reduction Act that is easier to obtain for leased EVs than purchased ones. Leasing offers lower monthly payments and short-term commitments, making EVs more accessible and appealing, especially to first-time buyers hesitant about long-term ownership or rapidly depreciating resale values. Automakers have embraced leasing as a strategy to boost EV adoption amid slower than expected demand, with nearly 45% of EV transactions in late 2024 being leases compared to 24% for the industry overall. Foreign automakers and their luxury brands such as Lexus and BMW have particularly benefited from the leasing-focused subsidy, bypassing restrictions on North America sourcing for purchased EVs. The leasing boom may face uncertainty under the Trump administration, which could attempt to tighten or eliminate EV subsidies, although legal and legislative hurdles could protect the incentives. Trump's new economist makes the case for 20% tariffs. Stephen Miron, President-elect Trump's pick to chair the Council of Economic Advisors, supports significantly higher tariffs, proposing rates as high as 20% to 50% to address trade deficits and strengthen U.S. manufacturing. Miron's ideas, rooted in economic theory, argue for optimal tariffs that maximize U.S. benefits, though they risk retaliation, undermining global alliances and economic instability. He suggests leveraging U.S. defense commitments to deter retaliation and proposes alternatives like currency interventions or bond market adjustments to achieve similar goals. Critics highlight the practical challenges, including retaliation, minimal consumer price impacts, and potential failure to reduce trade deficits. The broader implications include strained alliances, weakened U.S. defense commitments, and potential global instability. Howie Buffett, the middle child of Warren Buffett, is preparing to take on the role of non-executive chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, tasked with preserving its culture and ensuring leadership continuity after his father's eventual pass. Warren Buffett has chosen Howie for this role out of trust and familiar bond, emphasizing that his responsibilities will center on oversight rather than running the business, leaving operations to Greg Abel as the next CEO. With a diverse background in farming, corporate boards, philanthropy, and local government, Howie has built a reputation for adaptability and commitment, though his appointment has drawn some criticism as nepotistic. Beyond Berkshire, Howie leads a charitable foundation focused on global food security, conflict resolution, and aid, with significant work in Ukraine, Rwanda, and Colombia funded by Berkshire stock gifts from his father. As the Buffett children prepare to direct their father's $140 billion fortune toward philanthropy, Howie is dedicated to upholding Warren Buffett's legacy and ensuring the company's values endure. Diary of a Dead North Korean Soldier reveals grisly battlefield tactics. The troops are exposed green, loyal, and dying by the thousands in frontline combat against Ukraine. A diary found on a slain North Korean soldier in Russia's Kursk region reveals disturbing details about the soldier's deployment in the Ukraine war. The entries include combat tactics such as using a soldier as bait to lure drones and express unwavering loyalty to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The North Koreans, who have suffered heavy casualties, were deployed recklessly, often lacking proper training and equipment. Despite their indoctrination, many soldiers refuse to surrender, and some even die by suicide to avoid capture. The diary contents align with typical North Korean military practices, highlighting the soldiers' extreme loyalty and ideological fervor. Investors hope earnings season can revive a faltering stock rally. With the Fed unlikely to cut interest rates as quickly as hoped, corporate earnings growth becomes even more critical. Investors are hoping the upcoming earnings season will revive a faltering stock rally, as the Federal Reserve is unlikely to cut interest rates quickly, putting pressure on stocks. The Dow and Russell 2000 indices have declined since November, with higher bond yields dampening stock performance. Corporate earnings growth, which is expected to increase by 12% for S&P 500 companies in the fourth quarter, is becoming even more crucial for the market. The earnings reports, especially from large banks and companies like Nike and FedEx, are vital for understanding how businesses are handling economic pressures and consumer spending shifts. Some strategists warn that earnings growth must broaden beyond big tech to support sustained stock gains. The incoming Trump administration plans to begin large-scale immigration raids in Chicago on Tuesday, targeting immigrants with criminal records and those in the country illegally, with 100 to 200 ICE officers set to participate. Chicago was chosen as the initial target due to its sanctuary city policies and ongoing political disputes between Trump and the city's Democratic leadership, with future raids expected in other major cities. The Trump administration intends to penalize sanctuary cities by cutting federal grants and empowering sheriffs to enforce immigration laws, even threatening legal actions against officials who obstruct efforts. Community organizations and local leaders in Chicago and elsewhere are mobilizing to inform immigrants of their rights, while economists warn that mass deportations could severely impact industries reliant on immigrant labor. The plan has sparked fears among immigrant communities and reignited debates over immigration policy, sanctuary city protections, and the economic and social impacts of Trump's mass deportation campaign. Elon Musk's integration into President-elect Donald Trump's inner circle has faced challenges, including criticism from MAGA leaders like Steve Bannon and conflicts over policies like H-1B visas. Despite some tensions, Musk wields significant influence, co-chairing the Department of Government Efficiency and shaping Trump's policies on issues such as immigration and government reform. Musk's frequent access to Trump and his outspoken opinions have irked some aides, though his connections with Trump's family and allies like Steve Miller bolster his position. While Trump tolerates internal rivalries, Musk faces competition from other corporate leaders like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, who are also engaging with the administration. Musk is adjusting his public behavior and influence strategy as he transitions from a campaign surrogate to a governing role, focusing on collaboration with Trump and the administration. The Trump administration's return marks a new frenemy era for big tech, as rivals Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg appear to mend relations and align on issues to gain favor with the president-elect. Musk and Bezos publicly exchanged goodwill over their respective rocket launches, while Zuckerberg had adopted Musk-like rhetoric, including abandoning Meta's fact-checking and DEI principles to align with Trump's agenda. Musk's support for Trump, including significant financial backing and public campaigning, has secured him a central role in the incoming administration as co-head of the Department of Government Efficiency. Big tech leaders like Bezos, Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, and Sundar Pichai are attending Trump's inauguration, seeking to improve relations amid ongoing antitrust scrutiny. While rivalries persist, the apparent truce between these tech leaders reflect a shared strategy to navigate regulatory pressures and the Trump administration's influence.